when dealing with the entire arrangement like this, now, one thing we have to keep in mind is that, not all of the things can play at the same time all the time. It doesn't actually work. As you have seen in this, example where I have these bass lines, all the different ones. So I do have the right, the bass as the sub, playing only the lowest of the frequencies. But I also have these basses, these growly basses that actually don't have the lowest of the frequencies. Those are cut. So these only play the mids and the highs to add on to that, bass house kind of feeling, electro house kind of feeling. But I realized that they couldn't play with all of those leads and all of those chords, and it's like it was just too full. So sometimes you will realize that you actually need to add something because there is stuff missing. It's either that your song sounds too empty or that the production sounds really empty. That could be due to lack of, space, so you might want some more reverb or less reverb. That could also, make it even worse if you add too much reverb, have too many of those reverb tails, making a mess underneath of everything. But sometimes you might realize there's too many things at the same time, or that there is not enough of those elements playing, together, that the song is actually, empty. There is not enough happening to, keep the interest of the listener on the song. So what I had to do right here is, remove these bass lines when all of these leads play. So what they could play with, as I realized, was with a tiny bit of these chords. So maybe I could add these follow-ups on top of that too, just like that. Just where this one was, like this, and the ending as well, like that. Let's see all of it. Nice. So I added those layers of, like the super high strings and all of that. So I added those layers on top, and just as well with these, whereas it has 6 layers inside, it plays well with the bass. So effectively what I've done right here is like fill out the spectrum, frequency spectrum, with all of these layers, so they sound really powerful, but then they just go away and leave, some free space for the bass, drums, everything to be heard, and then we just have a cover up right here, the transitional part, and then again, free space, and then again, a few chords just to lead us into the next piece where we again have those chords playing. So these are just the chords that, have that chord progression thing before the start where we have the main, root note chord. And these just create a tension that draws, the feeling that you want this first chord to happen. You want that resolve to happen after these two, just like this. So in the whole song, just a moment. Yeah, so it creates the tension for this transition right here, and that's what I wanted. So you need to keep an eye on that. So do you have enough elements? Is your frequency spectrum empty? Is your song actually empty? It doesn't always have to be technical as seeing which frequencies you got covered. So in music, it's still music based upon the feeling you get when you listen to your song. So you would like your song to always be interesting enough, but never too full, because then, the listener doesn't have like one thing to, focus on. It's a lot of things happening at once, so they can't really clearly hear any of those things and focus on it. There's nothing to draw their attention because there's so many things playing at the same time. So you need to, be mindful of that. The brain is a powerful thing, but in music, it usually just follows one sound. It's really nice that you have all the background stuff because it makes the song sound nice and fuller and, keeps the cohesion of the song. But we are usually, creatures that just focus on one main theme. So you need to keep your song like that. Always keep the listener's attention on one leading line that you have. Right here, it's going to be the chords and then the bass and then the chords again, the bass. Although the bass plays under the chords, you don't really hear the bass that well when the chords strike like this. So I'm switching the attention of the listener from the chords to the bass, and then back to the chords, and then back to the bass, and then back to the chords back again. So it's switching because you don't hear them, as well. So when the chords play, you don't really hear all of these highs, lows, everything else from the bass that well. So you concentrate on the chords, but when they go away, the bass becomes more present. To concentrate on that. So always be mindful of that. And if you analyze, pop music happening right now, it doesn't have to be electronic. So analyze any pop music song, and you will see that this is the way it works. You always have a thing that your attention is drawn onto. It's usually the vocal, and if it's the music underneath, all of that music underneath also has those elements that, follow each other. And just be mindful of that. Analyze other people's music and you will see what I'm talking about. You will recognize this kind of pattern in many songs.